Have you ever felt caught between a promise and a problem, standing in the middle of something God said He would do, yet watching circumstances push the opposite direction? Sometimes faith doesn't feel like a triumphant shout. Sometimes it feels like quiet steps in dry places, hoping the next step still matters. And when life feels stuck between what God spoke and what you see, you're actually standing in the same place Isaac once stood, a man living in the tension between promise, pressure, and God's steady presence. Isaac's story unfolds long before he becomes a father or a patriarch. It begins as the long-awaited son born to Abraham and Sarah against every human possibility. His life is marked by promise, yet even promise carries weight. As a young man, he walks with his father up Mount Moriah, unaware that he is the sacrifice. The silence of that climb becomes a testament to trust. Isaac lays on the altar, not understanding, yet not resisting. God intervenes, providing a ram and sealing a truth that would echo for generations. He fulfills His word in His way, in His time, and never contradicts His character. Years later, Isaac steps into his own season of testing. Famine strikes the land, threatening everything familiar. God tells him to stay rather than flee to Egypt, and Isaac obeys, planting his future into ground everyone else considered barren. Even when jealousy rises and the Philistines stop up his wells, Isaac keeps moving with a calm persistence. He digs again and again until he finds room, showing that sometimes obedience is not loud, sometimes it is simply refusing to quit when others block what God is building in you. But Isaac's journey isn't only about survival. It's about the unfolding of God's covenant. In his old age, while his eyes grow dim, the blessing still carries weight. Though family tension surrounds the transfer of that blessing, God's plan stands firm, proving that His promises are not fragile pieces of glass. They are threads He weaves through human imperfection. Isaac remains a living witness that God can work through the simple, the quiet, the steady, those whose faith is not dramatic but dependable. His life teaches us that purpose doesn't always look like fire falling from heaven. Sometimes it looks like peace settling over a tent in the evening, knowing God is still guiding the story. One lesson that rises from Isaac's life is that trust is built in silence. Isaac obeyed when the path made no sense, and God revealed Himself in the moment of surrender. When you walk through the unclear, God is shaping your awareness of His presence, not through noise but through stillness. There are seasons when God doesn't explain, He simply asks you to trust His heart when His plan is hidden. Another powerful truth is that obedience plants seeds that outlast famine. Isaac sowed in a land ruled by lack, and God multiplied what logic would have dismissed. In your own life, obedience may feel slow, unnoticed, or overshadowed by others who seem to advance faster. But when you plant where God instructs, He breathes increase into what others overlook. Faith doesn't ignore reality. It invites God into it. Finally, Isaac teaches us that peace is a product of perseverance. Every time a well was taken from him, he moved forward without bitterness. Instead of fighting for what God could restore, he kept his heart free and his hands open. That posture created room literally and spiritually for God's blessing. When you choose peace over proving a point, you create space for God to establish what no opponent can steal. In the end, Isaac's story isn't loud, dramatic, or filled with spectacle. It is the story of a man whose quiet faith carried the covenant forward, whose obedience in ordinary moments invited extraordinary provision, and whose perseverance turned conflict into expansion. His life whispers what our hearts often need to hear. God is working even when the scene looks simple, even when the path feels slow, even when the promise seems delayed. Isaac shows us that the presence of God is not always found in fire or thunder. It is often found in the gentle steps of those who trust Him day by day. And when you walk like that, God doesn't just fulfill His promise. He shapes you into a person who can carry it well.